Alright, so I'm going to be doing a VOD review for 3 stars, a Diamond 4 Zarya player. It says here you are Master on both DPS and Support, and you're trying to climb to Master on Zarya, and you're a little upset that you're losing to a Diamond 5 tank, etc., blah, blah, blah. Let's see, I'm just trying to read through this stuff. It says here you think you're miles better than the enemy tank. I disagree. Maybe on other roles you're better. On tank, yeah, I don't really see the skill disparity, and I'll go into these things. Um, it's I'll like kind of go into more depth in a second here. Let me just keep reading through this a bit more. Yeah, interesting counter swapping. That's fine. You don't need a counter swap, especially in diamond, low diamond. Um, it's not that big of a deal. Whatever. So for starters, right, you can be much higher on some roles than on others, right? I mean, that's really obvious. For example, like you, for example, right? You're a full rank above what you are on DPS and support as like than you are on tank, right? And that's just going to naturally happen. Some people are just naturally better at some things, because different roles have different strengths, right? Like Zarya, like a lot of people will call Zarya like a kind of a DPS tank because like you just kind of run in and track people and win. But there's a lot more to it than that, right? Because like as tank, your timing just needs to be very good, right? And you just need to be considering what cooldowns they have, the enemy team has like all the time, right? Because you're going to be the center of attention of like every single engagement as tank, right? And as tank, there are just so many ways of like bailing people out of you being able to get kills that sometimes you just won't be able to get kills and you just have to leverage your tankiness and cooldowns to like force out all the enemy team's cooldowns before your team's cooldowns get forced out, right? Um, yeah, anyways, for example, like at the opposite end of the spectrum, I guess like I'm like a masters-ish like DPS and support player, but I'm like, Grandmaster top 500 on tank. And I play kind of more DPS tanks too, like Hog, Zarya, Sig. Those are kind of my more favorite tanks, kind of more aim intensive heroes. But even like on Hog, right? Like once you rank up, it's obviously you can still get one shots and such, but like there are just so many cooldowns very often that you need to like force out, and so many like factors you have to consider before you can actually get kills. Um, so they can actually get kills in the first place, right? And this is in contrast to something that's like um Cass or like I don't know what DPS you play, but like you could play Cassidy or like Sojourn or Ashe and just like literally two tap the entire lobby. You don't even have to consider what cooldowns they have, right? If you just have better aim and better reaction times than like the average player, you can just literally turn a corner, just two tap even a support before they can like realistically react to like use their movement cooldown or like MO cooldown or something like that and just like kill people even if your positioning and timing's bad, and just like kill people before they can realistically react and just win every single duel and just rank up doing that. Like on tank, it's not possible because like you're not killing people, especially like low diamond isn't super high, but like usually people will like be using their cooldowns to save themselves or other people against tanks because they're just so much more telegraphed, right? Their range is way worse than DPS or supports. Their uptime is way worse and their damage also tends to be worse, right? Like even Hog is kind of like the quintessential DPS tank, right? He still suffers from like significant uptime issues and like significant range issues compared to other like DPS, right? And Zarya is like no exception to this too, right? So like it just goes to show you like different roles have different strengths, right? Like as tank, your uptime is just not going to be as good as it could possibly be on other roles, and you just have to acknowledge this and play your cooldowns well and just be willing to push in at the right times when the enemy team is down on resources, like cooldowns or HP. Anyways, more so focusing on what you could be improving on. For starters, your bubble usage is like very bad. I mean, just quite simply, I'll kind of split this into two parts. Um, you are using bubbles not early enough and not getting your charge high enough, like as a general rule. And it's just like really making your like uptime worse because your damage is just so low when you're at low charge, and you're like consistently wasting bubbles in these positions where you don't have charge and like running in behind enemy lines with low charge and like low bubbles and just accomplishing nothing because you can't sustain yourself in those positions and you can't get picks because you have no charge, right? It's really quite important to like kind of get both of these down. Um, first and foremost. I guess thirdly, you should be looking to use your ultimate pretty much in every single fight. Like as soon as you get it in fights that are winnable, but not like completely lost yet, right? Obviously, you're high on other like pretty high on other roles, so I'm not gonna like belittle you and explain what you should be looking for in this regard, right? Um, yeah, so like I'm sure you're just sitting on it too much. Like on tank, especially like even on other roles, right? You should be really using your ultimate like as soon as you get it, ideally, right? Just winning fights, unless you're like coordinating with a 5-stack, right? There's no reason to like hold on to it, right, for some special occasion. And I will say again, right, or maybe I didn't explain this clearly in the first place. Like I said, DPS is a role with really high uptime. Tank is a role with like not super great uptime, right? You just have to be very patient and wait for your openings and opportunities to like push beyond a corner with your cooldowns to actually make something happen, right? Otherwise, you're just gonna take like a ton of damage and accomplish nothing and force your supports like heal bot you instead of DPSing themselves, right? Like on DPS and support, you can just like blow people up or whatever and just like do whatever you want from like really safe distances, but you just don't have that convenience on tank. Pretty good bubble here, right? Yep. That's kind of what you want to be looking for, right? On Zarya, you really want to be getting your charge up like as soon as possible, right? And then kiting, you can, especially like safe distances, use 2 bubbles really early to like ether spam, get your charge really high, and start waiting until you start regenerating bubbles to actually start pushing like the backline, right? Start shooting the tank away, and once the tank burns their resources and like moves out of position, you can try to catch someone on their backline that's too far forward, right? Yep, this is fine. Just keep running in. When you have a bubble and you have decent charge, just keep walking in, right? You're not going to get charge. This is a habit you have. You are like consistently 1v1ing people as Zarya, right? Um, See, like literally no one else can shoot you right now based on what their positioning is. And you're just like gimping your ability to get charged by doing this, right? When you want charge, you need to like swing wide like this, for example. Play obviously this corner here, but swing wide, for example, start shooting this brig. So this brig is forced to like get away. This Zarya's forced to like, or sorry, the Risa and potentially, some of their DPS are forced to shoot you away from the brig so she doesn't die, right? But you keep doing this thing where you see like one person, right? Backing off the angle and like not accomplishing anything, right? And again, like the bubble usage, it was okay, but really you should have been like staying here, right? Playing in the corner and trying to like swing wide this way. You see the difference? Because that way you stay in their LOS longer and you have more opportunities to shoot down the brig, right? And you have a better way of like getting back to cover, right? By just going this way and flying back to your team and just like, going back this way. Like if you get too low and if you start getting low, you just pop a second bubble as you run out and you just get a ton of charge and live, right? The problem with going this way is now the people high ground can no longer see you, and now your only option of getting charge is just Sarisa, and she can just literally just stop shooting you, right? And like when you want charge, you have to peek more people. This is like something I'd be doing when I was already like 70 plus charge and I was ready to push the brig, right? You're again ready, like again, right? When you're shooting the Sarisa 1v1, honestly, she like kept shooting you for no reason. She could have stopped shooting you way sooner. Maybe she was spamming your backline or something. But like you have no reason to bubble in this position because you're not going to get anything off of this, right? This is just maybe going to get you a little charge, but now you're not able to push their backline at all because you have no bubbles, right? You have no bubbles and not like the highest charge. So yeah, something to keep in mind. Just waiting is fine here, right? Wait for your HP to go back up. Again, right, when you're using bubbles and swinging corners like this, don't use bubbles to push the tank. Use bubbles to shoot someone else, right? Like, you have to force them away and force yourself as a threat to get people to actually shoot you, right? When you do stuff like this, they can just completely ignore you, right? It was decent though, you baited their Arisa to overextend them. I would say once this breaks out of the fight, right, I'd focus, like when I say that, when she's like past this doorway, just completely ignore. And for example, you can like bubble or whatever, I don't even know what's called, rocket jump, right click jump up here, and just start like shooting, pressuring the Ana, right? When the Brig's like, the Brig obviously has no range, and once you force her out of this like choke, her only play is to like uselessly just sit here and like chuck health packs to Ana maybe, and she probably is already in low on health packs, or take this really long rotation to go all the way over here to like do something, right? And the point is like she's not doing anything, and that entire time she's rotating away, whereas you could be doing something else. Obviously here, Brig like doesn't need to swing on you, no reason to bubble. The problem is now, because you don't have bubble, you can't hard push this Ana, because you have to worry about sleep, right? Obviously, I don't know what her cooldown status is because I've been pausing so much, but I imagine she is asleep right now. If you get slept, you might not die right away, but you just will take yourself out of the fight even longer, right? Yeah, so she has sleep right now. And yeah, since the Fire is killing everyone, right, you can say like your team sucks because the Fire is killing everyone right now. But you have to admit you had like some hand in this because you're wasting your time like chasing this Brig who's already out of the fight, right? You already got value by forcing her away from the front line, so she can't do anything. Good kill, regardless. Right? I was saying you have a really bad habit of bubbling your teammates too without considering who or what they're getting shot by and like their cover, right? Like this is a position where you didn't see your Tracer use recall, right? Yeah, she still has recall, and like the Arisa's coming in like literally 1v like 3ish right now, right? I guess like I don't know who that is. Your spawners are getting back, so I guess it's effectively like 1v5. Like if your Tracer dies right now, you're still gonna win the fight because Arisa's gonna use all her cooldowns to kill your Tracer, and it's honestly your Tracer's fault because like Tracer should not be dying to an Arisa with when she still has recall online, right? And again, even if she dies, the Arisa's just gonna die immediately afterwards anyways. And again, you should be waiting for your Tracer to actually start taking damage before you bubble her, right? This is kind of like playing into the thing where you're just like wasting bubbles and you're constantly at low charge and low bubbles, which is just not something you want to have happen, right? It's a recurring issue. I don't think I'll bring it up as much as I did that time. Like when you're bubbling your teammates, I guess I'll like, kind of like explain this as much as I can. When you're bubbling your teammates, you need to consider what angles they're getting shot by, what characters are getting shot by, and how aggressive they are, right? Like if they're behind cover and they can't get shot by anyone, literally it's a complete waste to bubble them, right? If they're not peeking, obviously another complete waste to bubble them. So you really want to be waiting for them to like already be actively taking damage or like crossing an area where you know there's like a sniper and they're just, or like a fully charged Sojourn Rail, and you just know they're gonna die if they peek right then, right? That's like the only time you just like bubble when you don't see them actively taking damage, right? Yeah, so I hope that is kind of useful. Not really a good time to bubble. Again, I think I kind of touched on this earlier. When they have an easy way to get away from you, don't bubble, because like it's really, they just don't need to shoot you, right? Like if they can get away from you without shooting, don't bubble. Find some other path to take where you can make yourself like more problematic, right? For example, I think you do this. You like right click jump on this thing, and you could like, for example, like right click jump up here. I think you end up doing something similar to this, and then end up right click jumping up here. And you do something like this, like you just bubble and you just immediately get 45 charge, right? And obviously you just drop back down, you're perfectly safe. Again, right, same thing, same problem, no one was shooting you. And they have easy outs, right? You're not like peeking main, you're not peeking multiple people, and like they have easy outs again, right? This guy's just kind of messing up his movement. I'll say it's okay, but honestly, this Cass has no reason to die, and you see you've wasted all your cooldowns, and now you're like completely super far away from your team, right? And you have no cooldowns and no charge, right? So like this is not like a super great position to be in. And I would probably be looking to grab this, whatever her name is, Ashe, or this Ana, as soon as they pop Nano, because this fight's definitely losable right now, right? Once your Tracer got the pick on the Ashe, maybe not, right? Ignore the Orisa in these positions, right? Just keep, if your team dies, so be it, right? Like, especially on Zarya, you should just be hard pushing the back line when you have the opportunity to. This Zarya, I mean, this Orisa's gonna tank. Okay, that's good there. It just could have been a little sooner, right? You don't have bubble, there's literally nothing you can help you, so. Again, right? They have an easy out. This guy has his Ana with him, and his Juno's like right behind him, and he can just, you know, he has both his cooldowns because he literally just respawn. He's just literally gonna turn away from you, so just don't even bother, right? Don't even bother bubbling, I should say, right? And I would say here, this is kind of the reason I don't like people calling Zarya a brawl tank, because they get baited and doing stuff like this, which is like something you'd want to do on like, I don't know, a Reinhardt or something. Play inside these choke, well, even on Ryan, you probably don't want to like super aggressive in these small choke points, but like you're not using your range, and you're also making it kind of more difficult for your Ana to heal you based on your LOS, right? As Zarya, you really need to be like constantly rotating to try to get your charge up, and then when your charge is high, wait for yourself to have bubbles, and then you kind of push in, right? Push the back line specifically. When you do stuff like this, you just see how you're constantly forcing yourself to waste your cooldowns so you don't get like stunned or whatever, and explode. Because like you're just too close and you just don't know like what you're just like committing too early against characters that don't have to shoot you, right? Like they get a ton of value by literally just staring at you, and like there's no other pressure on them, right? Like your tracer can't help you in this fight, right? So there's nothing pressuring them to like force them to shoot at all, right? The rest of your team, my point is the rest of your team cannot help you in this fight, so there's like no reason for these people to even panic, right? So like there's just some other consideration to make. And again, you're too close with 0 bubbles here, right? I'll see at 1 right now. Unfortunately, your guy died. Here again, you weren't getting shot. No reason to bubble. I kind of get that one. It's alright. Not that in the world. Just be aware that 2 of your players are still dead, right? Against Ryan, when you have the opportunity to, I know I think you said you were struggling with Ryan in particular. Against Ryan, just literally walk by him, right? If you have the opportunity to, just ignore him. Like he's just one of those tanks that can just sit and stall the objective forever. And your like best method of beating him on Zarya, it's just literally completely ignore him, right? Especially you have the rocket jump perk now, so it's much easier, especially in these high ground maps, because it's only options to get high ground now are like taking the launch pads, whatever you want to call them. Yeah, so. See, this is a pretty good position to bubble. The problem is you did not wait for the cast to turn around and start shooting you, right? When you're pinching the cast, right, his only option, because obviously you're getting shot by their backline too, his only option is to either like turn and try to shoot you to blow you up, or try to kill someone in your front line. And if he doesn't turn around, just wait till you take a little bit more damage to like bait these people into shooting more, and then bubble to bait them to keep shooting you and get more charge, or just not use bubble at all and just burn this guy down, and potentially like bubble someone that he like chucks all his cooldowns into, right? When you pinch people like this, like he has no choice of getting out, except right, using all of his cooldowns and trying to go for a trade, or just hoping you kind of like you guys mess up your mechanics like you do there, right? Unfortunately, because you don't kill that cast, he gets away and your team loses 2 for it. I will say grabbing the cast is also an option, but I think that would have been a bit overkill because your entire team is pushing him. I wasn't even paying attention to what else you used bubbles on, but obviously not super great bubble usage, right? Here, another position, right, when you've already kind of wasted a bubble. Let me rewind a bit. You see you're already down 1 bubble here. Try not to do stuff like this, because like you're just keeping yourself in this loop where you have 0 bubbles and like 0 charge, right? And this is not something you want to have happen. When your team isn't engaging, like just don't do that stuff unless you're just spamming projectiles. I'm laughing at that, Ana. That's crazy. Again, that's an opportunity for you to grab her, right? Either you grab her and get the kill, which puts you able to win the fight because it's an even fight, right? Little risky because your tracer died, obviously, or you force like the Ryan to come off high ground and just like give your team a lot more space to contest high ground, right? And then you can rotate high to like do something else. That's fine, right? Get rocket jump up to keep following her. I would have kept trying to push that Juno, right? Remember, you do have the rocket jump perk. Keep when the Ashe keeps walking this way, you need to stay over here so your team can heal you, right? Like, I don't know exactly where your Ana is actually, but I imagine. Okay, she's high now, right? But like, you see the problem. Regardless, when you walk or when you continuously walk in this direction, now you're LOSing yourself from your supports and you can't get healed, and you're effectively like not taking a fair fight, right? Because you obviously cannot get healed and the enemy tank can, right? So just be careful doing stuff like this. Okay, a little chaotic, right? You can just walk into that cast, by the way, when he does stuff like that. He can't kill you in time, right? Okay, I get it. Yep. When I say walk into the cast, I don't mean literally bot into him, but like play cover and keep shooting him, right? So you can easily break LOS. Say that fight, you had the opportunity just to hard push the Juno, right? Because she was just kind of floating around in the open for a really long time. And you just kind of like ignored her to fight for the point, right? If you have the opportunity to, get kills and then go for the point, right? Like, the problem with pushing cart is they'll eventually get to a choke point where you just can't break through it very easily, and it's just better just to kill everyone and then just push the objective after anyways, right? Like, if you have the opportunity to, obviously do both, but if you have to choose either or, you should generally speaking be going for the kills. Okay, really bad land. Unfortunate. This is position, right? You saw the Ryan's shield was really low and you did decent damage to him. And you have decent charge, right? He's obviously getting healed up now or whatever. You can just keep challenging him, right? Okay, I guess you heard these guys above. Could have bubbled a little sooner there. I can't really hear people right now, unfortunately, so my volume's just too low. This is fine. Just staying alive is perfectly fine, right? On Zarya especially, it's not good to die because you lose all your charge, right? If you have the opportunity to, just stay alive. Because like going into a fight with 50 charge and 2 bubbles, this is way better than going in with 2 bubbles and 0 charge, obviously. Obviously here, right, this is kind of the same thing, right? Let me show you from your Tracer's perspective, just to like show you how goofy this bubble was, right? See, she's already behind cover, and like literally no one was shooting her, right? She got hit by the torpedo, and if she gets sniped by the Ashe above, right, you have to consider that your team is also like helping you shoot the Ashe away above, right? Like you see your Sojourn literally like whatever disruptor shot at that angle, so your Tracer could not take damage, right? And you just waste so much uptime by doing stuff like that, bubbling your teammates when they're not going to take damage. Okay, I think you end up, yep, a little slow. Could have done this a bit sooner, right? Again, right, no reason when they have an escape path, don't bubble. My point is, like, a lot of times on tank, literally all you have to do is show up and you get value, right? You see the moment you jump up here, their Ashe is just automatically running away. Because like she's just gonna lose a 1v1 against you, right? That's kind of the good thing about tank. Unless you like really mess up your mechanics, you're just gonna win every single 1v1. So just your presence alone is enough to make people run away, and you get value just by doing that, right? That's literally just making space. You make the Ashe run away, and it's like great. Now your team doesn't have to worry about getting flanked this way. They don't have to worry about the Ashe just holding an angle like all the way back here and like blowing them up as they walk in, right? They don't have to worry. My point is they don't have to worry about any angle high, and you can just control low ground now, right? This is fine, right? You're forcing her to use cooldowns, you're forcing her away. Again, no need to bubble your Tracer there, right? She wasn't like hindered or anything. Unfortunate. Happens sometimes. I'd keep it backing up. If this Ryan decides to charge in, especially because they have speed, they can just run you guys over right now. Definitely very killable right now. Against Ryan, when he fire strikes you, just bubble them, right? Because you have the opportunities to stall him out and just burn down his shield, right? It's like your easiest way of getting charged against Ryan is to bubble his fire strikes, right? On Zarya, like when you have no charge, you have to take damage. I do like this play from you here, right? This guy's overextended. Like that's a pretty good bubble, right? Like you might have not gotten a ton of charge, but you couldn't get stunned, for example, and you guarantee the kill. Trading bubble and like getting 20 charge into pick is worth it like every single time, right? That's alright. There's some small things you could have changed, right? That's alright. Here, this is a position where, like, you get a pick, you should not be looking to just sit main and shoot the Ryan, right? You should be looking to, like, bait the Ryan to coming lower and, like, trying to press the angle here, you know, come down here, keep rotating, like, go over this way, right? Force an angle this way. You can even go high ground again and, like, force an angle up top and shoot down, right? Just to open the map for your team, right? If this Ryan just sits cart, and I kind of figured the Ashe was up there. I didn't know she was that far in. But the problem just sitting in main when you have a pick is you let stuff like this happen in the downtime, and they win just by doing nothing like by default, right? Because they're on defense. And when you continuously rotate away, you're obviously forcing the Rhine either to let you farm his backline or rotate over to you, which means that he's not shielding main anymore, right? And you're not gonna die, right? As long as you don't push past these choke points super hard. And that allows your teammates to just sit like a more preferential angle, right? And just farm people, right? Like your Sojourn, if she really wants to, she could just sit here and farm this guy, for example, right? But like if she like is forced to play up here, this isn't the best for her because like they can easily like play cover and just blow you up main, right? Because they have really long angles through main, right? So just something to consider. We'll say the Ashe is still above. You could go up top and just like deal with her, right? Kind of messing up the mechanics a bit. It's okay, happens sometimes. You can fight, right? If the Ryan's just sitting main, just go somewhere else, right? But especially at 0 charge, you need to do something else. Again, that was another opportunity to get some charge, right? Off of the fire strikes. It's okay to use bubbles to get charge early in fights, right? You can just kite this guy. You have time to wait, right? You have to play the long fight this hard. Just kind of sitting back and doing nothing means you'll not do enough damage. You'll just get stalled out, especially if you're on offense. Again, no reason to bubble. She wasn't taking any damage and they don't have one shots, right? You just kind of walk in again. 0 bubbles and now you can't contest both, right? Or block shadow. I'm sure you can see the big problem on that offense, or especially attacking the last point, as you just literally just sat main and got no charge and just didn't try to push anyone, right? You can extend beyond these corners and chokes a little bit and use bubble as like a method of extending your peak, I guess, right? That's the best way of looking at it.
Ready for battle.
Speed it up a little, just get in the fight a little sooner. That's an opportunity for you to get some charge, right? The Pharos is spamming rockets main, right? Again, another opportunity. I think like I'm watching this through more more closely. You're just wasting a ton of cooldowns that are like free charge for you, right? Like when they just chuck cooldowns randomly, just use those opportunities as an option to get charge, right? Because you see this guy rocked and he's just shooting in the exact same location he rocked. He ended up rocking your Mei, right? And I didn't even notice that, but like you get charged, right? And they'll just keep mindlessly spamming you when they see like the rock go out. They're honestly just spamming this lane right here. And 2, when you like eat cooldowns with your bubbles, you prevent stuff like this from happening, and your team will just randomly die a lot less, right? I mean, obviously, once your teammates get better, they'll just stop randomly dying, and the enemy team will just also stop randomly throwing as many cooldowns, right? And that's kind of like the trade-off, right? This is okay. Should have more ammo, right? Again, you weren't really getting shot there, so no reason to bubble, right? Start taking more damage before you start bubbling. Unfortunate, I think if you bubbled that guy a bit sooner, you would have gotten more charge. But that was a good bubble, you probably would have died. Didn't, so. I don't know if you noticed, the Ana used Sleep Dart. That's a timing for you to just notice that like you can still get healed by your team, right? And like this Sig's also low on like shield, right? So that's the timing where you could like hold right here, just beam the Ana, right? And if you start getting like under too much fire, just back off to this corner here and you'll be safe, right? Because the Sig and Ana are both low on resources too, right? Like you're not gonna die here as long as you play cover. I'm just looking at your team. Like you know this Ana doesn't have her sleep dart, so like, you're not gonna get hard punished for doing something like that, right? Unfortunate. You probably should have like had more charge by this point, just by using like your levels better, right? That's pretty good there. You see, just by forcing the Ashe off the angle, you get value, right? No reason to back off, right? This Sig has used a lot of resources, right? His shield's low, no grasp. You can keep playing that. Don't when people go behind, like one person as tank goes behind, you cannot turn back for them, right? Because the problem is, like on DPS, this is perfectly fine, but the problem is on tank when you do this, I'm sure you can see it right now, right? When you like literally who is going to stop their entire team from just doing this right now and just completely locking off the point and like making it impossible for your team to like peek out of chokes right now, right? You have to be the one that stops that, especially like immobile tanks, you have no choice, right? It's also like doubly unfortunate there because like you woke up the sleeping Pharah and you can't one-shot her or like do like high burst damage to effectively kill her. Unfortunate, right? Really, the only problem, like obviously you missed that what you know a little, but you just needed more charge, right? You had a lot of opportunities. I'm sure you could see like all these opportunities I'm showing you to point out where like you could be effectively farming charge from them spamming cooldowns or like hard pushing someone that doesn't have their own cooldowns, making yourself an actual threat. This is kind of the problem with Zarya sometimes, right? This is the limitation of the character. When you don't get your charge, you sometimes lose fights, right? It's okay, it just happens sometimes, right? Probably could not have touched there, sorry. You can definitely keep holding close here. What in the world? Unfortunate timing, right? I'm surprised no one shot you there. Again, that's another not so good bubble, right? This Mei was one. She has all. I didn't even bring. Oh, I think I kind of touched on this earlier, right? When they have their defensive cooldowns, they're gonna die, right? She's behind cover, right? Literally, no one can see her right now, and she still has her ice block, right? And the Sig even used this rock, I believe. So like, there's a zero chance she dies right now, and now you just don't have a bubble, for example, for yourself or to push their backline, or like whoever's getting fluxed right now, right? You literally can't do anything about that. This is fine, right? Again, right? No reason to do that. Just use them on yourself more. I assume you're trying to hit some major prediction spam, right? But obviously don't do that. Again, another opportunity for you to get charged. Another opportunity for you to get charged, right? If they already use Bob, like if they already commit ults, just give up space, get charged, and then recommit when you have high charge and like bubbles, right? Like it's okay, literally just sit in the open. Like especially against Bob, like he's just gonna give you 45 charge every single time, right? No reason to be so afraid. When you just keep missing out on these like really easy opportunities to get charged, right? And the funny thing is, like, you're walking in, losing 300 HP, and not even bubbling, and just, like, doing nothing in return, right? This is, like, not where you want to be, right? You just don't want to be taking a fight against Reinhardt when he has all charge. All this charge. Or when you have no charge, he's just single card, right? Yep, this is good, right? You see, she has no easy way out. You just push her with a bubble, and she just immediately dies, right? And you get charge. Again, you have a better option, right? The Mei is near cover, right? And you don't know if she has ice block, but you literally saw the Ana down here just literally botting away, right? Ignore the Mei and just kill the Ana. The obvious thing is like the Ana can heal the Mei, but that's not the case vice versa. But, like the more in-depth thing is like she has no cover, right? And like her cooldowns won't save her, right? Whereas Mei will just stall you out even more. Unfortunate, happens sometimes. Keep jumping high ground, right? You know, they're marked, they're like pinging these people high ground, right? Do your best not to just let them free farm if you have the ability not to. fine, right? This is a really good grab opportunity. Okay, good. I actually didn't watch this part. Yep. Automatically won the fight for your team. Really good stuff. Really good fight. Good job. Just keep walking in. I guess you're BMing this May or something. I don't know. My point when I say keep walking in, keep getting the straggler picks, right? The staggers. And you also can keep your charge like continuously rolling, right? Try your best not to ever let your charge go to 0 in Zarya, if you have the opportunity not to do so. Not much to say here, right? This is fine. Unfortunate Blizzard. Alright. That's alright, in the future just be a bit more ready to deal with the Reinhardt. Once you get this nano though, just like ignore the Reinhardt again, right? Just start pushing his backline. I guess you kinda have to contest card this position though. Keep shooting above, right? Kind of no choice. Unfortunately, let me. I don't like my commentary at this fight. Let me watch that back. That was not good for me. I'm not gonna lie. I think you just had to play high ground here, right? You had the opportunity to completely ignore the Rhine by like rocket jumping up here, playing cover here, and just shooting the Ana. And you also have a better method of getting back to cart. Really, you probably shouldn't have dropped from high ground at all. That's probably actually your primary issue this fight. Once you saw that no one was frozen, right? You can literally just stand here and see that like no one's frozen. Kind of a wasted ult, unfortunate, right? But this fight's also kind of on your team because your team is also like not set up high ground at all, which is really really odd. Like I don't know why your Ashe isn't up there. Very very odd stuff. Yeah, but just you know. That little bit wasn't really super on you, but yeah. Here, right, just ignore the Rhine. Just at this position, I'll say, like, you should be going to cart as soon as possible, just so they don't cap out, right? Like, it's kind of too late to try to kill the Ana. Just kind of have to. That also would have been a good position to bubble, right? So you can actually shoot cart. The Ashe can't kill you. Unfortunately, you're just gonna die here. I'll just die as soon as possible. Kind of a miracle you lived that long. Right, another opportunity for you to charge, right? Especially this ranked, they won't be super good at like counting your bubbles. So sometimes like lower rank Ryans, when they see you bubble one time, they'll just like instinctually shatter, and you just block it with the next bubble, right? And just like won't expect it sometimes. Obviously, as you rank up, that won't happen. You'll get better, a lot better at counting your bubbles, right? Not a super great bubble. I get the intention, but like the wall was up, right? So it's not gonna do anything. You're still in rush, so you can afford to be a bit more aggressive with your bubbles. Here, your issue is like you're not playing close enough to cover. Like literally just stand here and force the Rhine to like shield like this way in the open instead of running in like this, right? And just like not letting your supports heal you anymore. Or like, you know, just getting damage dumped by their entire team, right? This is kind of like why playing choke points as tanks is so important, right? Like the difference between going in here, right, when you don't have bubble, is that like now, I'm sure you can see now, like this POV, the Juno, the Ana, the Ashe, the Rhine can all like, and the Pharah can all shoot you, and you can only get help by your Mei. But when you play here and you force them to peek into you, now you see the opposite case, right? You can get healed, or like your team can all help like shoot with you, right? And now like the entire enemy team cannot help the Rhine, right? Accomplish what he wants to accomplish, right? I should add. Again, you can't be turning for the whatever far in this position just because the card's so close. Okay, so I think I'll reiterate, right? Bubble usage is a big problem. you're not getting your charge up early enough, and right, you're like consistently looking at your teammates too much, so they don't need bubbles. But again, the big thing is that you're like not using people's like spam, for example, to get charge early, and like you're missing a lot of opportunities to get charge. And two, right, you're just like forcing yourself in these bad cycles where you're just consistently at low bubbles and low charge, when the correct thing to do is just wait when you have one bad bubble and just wait for them like both to come back and then start pushing again, right? um and again, right, you're wasting a lot of, let me see, actually right here, I wasn't even paying attention to your ult charge this fight here, right? Okay, you're just like consistently not having enough ults and not using them soon enough, right? And that's usually because you're just like holding onto your ults in these fights for too long, right? You have opportunities to use them a lot earlier than you do. Like the one ult you had on the Mei and Ashe was good, right? Because you just instantly won the fight for your team. But like you could have had like literally like 3 or 4 more ults like that this game, right? You only had like a single one, right? So I hope this helps. Actually, before I go, if you've made it this far, I do have a Zarya guide on this channel. I know you say you've been watching other like high ranked Zarya players play. Um, I might like explain what I'm doing a bit differently and a bit more in depth than other players, right? It might be worth watching. I don't think I'm like super great at Zarya. I think I could one trick her to like somewhere in Masters if I really wanted to. But yeah, it might help you and might explain things differently that you might like be able to see exactly what I'm doing and exactly I explain like exactly why things are good or bad, right? So, but you should get the gist of it from this video itself. So I hope this helps.